So it's been announced last night as I record this that Matt Smith is to leave Doctor Who. I couldn't let this news go without a mention on this week's podcast, so here we are. For many fans, Matt Smith became their Doctor by the end of the 11th hour. For me, while John Pertwee will always be my Doctor, Matt Smith's incarnation was incredible. Like many, I had doubts about his Troughton-McCoy mashup of a Doctor at first, but Smith quickly settled into the role and made it his own. His quirky characterisation marked him out as very different from his predecessor, but won him many friends, including those who've travelled with him. For me, Smith had become the best of the revived show Doctors by some considerable distance, and I will miss him when he goes. Thank you, Matt Smith, for all you've brought to the Doctor, and all that you will bring to the role in the 50th anniversary special, and your swan song at Christmas. With all that said, let's not forget that Season 8 has been confirmed. So let the speculation begin as to who will fill Matt Smith's shoes in one of TV's best known and best loved roles. I have to say that I have no idea who I'd like to see as the 12th Doctor, but as someone commented last night on Facebook, I personally think it would work better with an unknown actor in the role. Why do I say that? Because there would be less pressure on the actor concerned in many ways, and for us, the fans, less chance of us comparing that person in the role of the Doctor to how they were in any previous roles we may have seen them in. But who am I? What do you, the listener, think? Have you any suggestions for who you would like to see in the TARDIS from Christmas on? Let me know at the usual email address, or post on here. So once again, thanks Matt Smith, but remember that after the fall of the 11th, we still have the rise of the 12th to look forward to. And now, on with this week's podcast.
Hello, I'm the Doctor. Basically, run.
Hello and welcome to Theta Sigma's 17th Doctor Who podcast. This week we continue our Sometime series looking at the Master. Having already covered the Roger Delgado version of the character, and also the emaciated Master, this week it's the turn of Anthony Ainley.
This is a very great and, may I say, a most unexpected honour.
Anthony Ainley was an English actor best known for his work on British television, and particularly for his role as the Master in Doctor Who. Ainley was born in Stanmore, Middlesex, the son of actor Henry Ainley. His half-brother Richard was also an actor. Although he was born on the 20th of August 1932, his birth wasn't registered until January 1938, following the birth of his brother Timothy. The birth certificates of Anthony and Timothy Ainley define their mother as Clarice Holmes, and it's under this surname that they're recorded in the official register. Although no father is named on the birth certificates, Timothy's marriage certificate identifies Henry Ainley as his father. Ainley's swarthy appearance tended to get him parts as villains, though an early regular role on British television was Detective Sergeant Hunter, sidekick to William Mervyn's Chief Inspector Rose in the second series of It's Dark Outside in 1966. Other notable roles included a Sultan in the 1969 film version of Oh What a Lovely War, Dietz in the 1975 film version of The Land That Time Forgot, Fallowfield in the Tygon film The Blood on Satan's Claw in 1971, Henry Sidney in Elizabeth R. also in 1971, Clive Hawksworth in Spider's Web in 1972, Reverend Emilius in the BBC's adaptation of The Pallisers in 1974, Johnson in the first episode of the BBC programme Secret Army in 1977, and he was also one of the Hong Kong policemen who discovered James Bond's supposed corpse in the opening sequence of You Only Live Twice. Reportedly, it was his performance as the Reverend Emilius in The Pallisers that led him to being offered the role of the Master by John Nathan Turner, who had worked on the show 7 years before becoming producer of Doctor Who. Ainley first portrayed the Master in 1981 in the serial The Keeper of Traken, and appeared in almost every season up to the end of the series in 1989, including its final serial, Survival. He later reprised the role for the 1997 BBC computer game Destiny of the Doctors. Ainley's great love for the role is often cited in documentaries and DVD commentaries. Script editor Eric Saywood claimed that he introduced himself over the phone by saying, "This is the Master," and then he would laugh. In the commentary and documentary for The Mark of the Rani, Both Colin Baker and Kate O'Mara say that he only ever wanted to play the Master. Colin Baker remarked that he could afford this luxury because he'd built up a private income by the mid-1980s and also had inherited a considerable sum of money from his father. Ainley remained unmarried throughout his life. He joked in the DVD commentary for The Keeper of Traken that he didn't like the 3 rings of marriage: the engagement ring, the wedding ring and the bicker ring. Ainley was a keen sportsman. Initially he was a rugby player, playing fly half for the Old Cranleans, Richmond and Middlesex. But he later turned his attentions to cricket, even citing Sophie Aldred as his friend, once he learned that she played the game as well. He appeared on many occasions for the Stage and London Theatres Cricket Club, mainly as the opening batsman.
I am the master, and you will obey me.
Ainley's Master was seen by some as pantomime in appearance and character. But then when you compare his Master to that of Eric Roberts in the 1996 movie, the Ainley Master becomes positively smooth. Some criticised Ainley's performance as the poor man's Roger Delgado, but for me, Ainley was the Master. It's often said that we all have our Doctor, you know, the one we grew up with. Well, for me, Ainley was my Master. He was charismatic in the role, and as time went on he became more and more sinister, and in Survival, for me, he really nailed the part. Such a shame then that the show was cancelled, and we didn't have the chance to see Ainley's Master develop even further.
Well, Doctor, an unexpected pleasure.
Well, that just about wraps up this episode of Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast. As always, if you have any feedback about the show, please feel free to leave it on the post or to email me at respectthething@gmail.com. That's respectthething@gmail.com. Or of course you can message me on Theta Sigma's Doctor Who page on Facebook. Before I go, I just want to say a huge thank you to all those who've shared the podcast on your pages. I was absolutely gobsmacked to see that last week's show was seen by over 4,300 people. I'm flattered, I'm humbled, it's just amazing, so thank you so much to all those who are sharing, but equally thanks to those of you who are listening. Of course, without the listener, the show's a bit of a waste of time. So thank you again for listening, thank you for sharing, and I hope you're enjoying at least a little what you're hearing. Next week, we look at one of the 10th Doctor's companions, Martha Jones. So until next time...
Well, goodbye, my boy. You did quite well. Quite well. It's reassuring to know that my future is in safe hands.
Thank you for listening to Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all copyright and property of the BBC, and no infringement is intended.